Well, hello and welcome. I don't know about you, but lately amongst my friend groups, there has certainly been a lot of conversation about taking long, extended walks through our beautiful countryside and how incredibly invigorating that feels. It's almost like slow travel. And today I'd love to welcome Genevieve from Parktrek. They are our partners in walking tours of Australia. And I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of walking tours within Australia. So, welcome, Genevieve.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure having you here today. I sometimes have to admit to you that I do look at these tours and I think they look absolutely stunning, but I get a little bit scared. I'm wanting to know from you so much today, and I'm going to start with some hard hitting questions. Not really. Where can we tour Australia for walking tours? Let's have a look at that if we can first, because I think walking tours are just such an incredible way to see our countryside. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. We're really, really fortunate. We just have so many destinations that we can offer across Australia, and we're really excited to be working with you guys as well. So, so happy to have the opportunity to speak to you guys and your wonderful followers and clients today, and hopefully inspire them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that all of your treks, I'm going to refer to them as treks, otherwise I'm going to keep saying walking tours of Australia, and that's really quite long-winded. All of your treks are just small groups as well, which I really, really love. I think you were saying it was a maximum of 10 people.
Yeah, you're definitely spot on. So it's 10 people and two guides as well. We can do, of course, private larger groups as well. So if you've got groups inquiries coming your way, we can definitely entertain those. So normally we just head out in two smaller vehicles. More often than not, it's usually 3 or 4 guides that would join those larger trips. So certainly not limited to 10, but typically 10 plus 2 skilled guides.
I think that sounds perfect. I would love to fill one departure with just all of my girlfriends. What fun that would be.
We
Let's have a look.
definitely do have those.
That's amazing. Let's have a look at some of the destinations where we can travel with your treks. Now, just to remind everybody today that we are live with Genevieve, and I'm watching the comments over here. Please pop in and say hello if you are watching live. Where are you watching from today? And certainly, we would love to answer any of your questions about trekking around our beautiful country. On our website, we have 4 destinations on offer with Parktrek at the moment. And these are the ones here, aren't they, Genevieve? It's really quite exciting. We've got Cradle Mountain in Tasmania, which is really iconic, definitely. Kangaroo Island in South Australia, which has certainly come back and rejuvenated after the devastating fires down there. So that is a beautiful place to explore now. The Snowy Mountains, and I always think of the man from Snowy River when I say that, and I don't know why. Is that showing my age, maybe? And of course, and
Not at all.
Great Ocean Road, which is so iconic. That coastline in Australia is so iconic, and I think it's just tremendous that we could walk that coastline. I often think that, driving that coastline is so beautiful, but what would you miss out on? If you're walking, you're not going to miss anything. Just tremendous. But tell me, I've said some pretty big names, Cradle Mountain, Kangaroo Island, Snowy Mountains, Great Ocean Road. I say it and then I get apprehensive because I think, oh my God, are we going to be walking for 12 hours a day? Tell me about goals for these treks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we, of course, have 4 or 5 really wonderful itineraries with inspiring vacations. Over our whole product range, we actually have 8 Tasmania itineraries and about 15 or 16 mainland itineraries. So just a small capture. We're hoping to bring more to your platform, which is really exciting. Soon, I think it's a watch this space kind of piece. I think for 2022, there'll be a few more products that I know we're working with in the background. Regarding the days, they're typically from a piece. They're typically 4-day itineraries. We have longer packages available as well, excuse me, which they can be up to 10 days for those that really, really want to go out and stretch themselves. But typically, you know, our demographic, it's anywhere from usually 45 to sort of 65-year-olds. We have had most recently, gosh, we had an 85-year out on tour, and he was like actually amazing. He blew our guides' minds with his fitness levels. So I think certainly accessible to all demographics. Of course, you've got to be, you know, fit on your feet and an outdoor lover. But essentially, if you're coming in even with like, you know, a limited level of fitness, so people that might be, you know, avid walkers, you know, daily or a few times a week in your area, don't think that these tours aren't accessible to you. Essentially, we have multiple itineraries that are accessible to all fitness levels. So usually, say on a group of 10, you might have people that would be anywhere from, you know, limited to skilled walkers. We actually send out like I suppose like a questionnaire prior to your tour, and we'll gauge the fitness level of the group and then make those adaptations to the itineraries should it be needed. And also just the way the itineraries are built. They are essentially designed so that day one, you know, you'll start on your, I suppose, a bit more entry level walks, and you'll build up your skill level. So over the time that you're with our guides over those, you know, typically 4 days, the first 2 days might be a little bit easier. Day 3, you might head into something that's a little bit harder. And, you know, if the guides don't sort of feel like you're up to it, you know, they'll have a conversation with you. They'll gauge the skill level of the group to make sure that everyone's having a really, really good time. So I can assure you, people that think that they can't do the walks, they absolutely can.
Oh, that's such good news. I am sure that there's a lot of our viewers out there now that are really hanging on every moment of what you were just saying to make sure that they can participate in these treks, which I think is really exciting. So if you're like me and you get out and just go around your neighborhood a few times a week, you can definitely join in with these treks. And I certainly notice that depending on the itineraries, it does depend a little bit on the terrain, but I love that the guides are so conscious and helpful for everybody of all fitness levels. I just want to say a big shout out and hello to a couple of our followers here today. Hello, Laura from the Blue Mountains. Hello, Aries from Malaysia. Lovely to have you here. Hope you can visit Australia in due course. Marnie from Cairns, Monica from Cairns. Thank you for tuning in. It's lovely to have you all. And please don't forget that if you do have questions here for Genevieve, I know she'd love to hear from you. So tell me, Genevieve, a typical day on a trek, I imagine we would wake in some stunning accommodation, very suitable to the environment where you're at, have a beautiful warm cup of tea as the sun comes up, a little bit of brekkie, and then set off along the way. But tell me a little bit about perhaps the accommodation first. Let's go there.
Yeah, sure. So we have a range of styles of accommodation. So I suppose it really depends on where you're trekking across Australia. Something like your Great Ocean Road itinerary that we have with you guys, you are in a combination of staying in the lighthouse up out at Cape Otway, and then, you know, onwards you would go into villa style accommodation. Again, depending on your itinerary and, you know, what kind of accommodation is available in the area. Typically, we like to, especially in Tassie, we really like to stay in private lodge style accommodation. And that's certainly sort of where we try to go for most itineraries. Something like if you get out, say, as an example, out to the outback, you might be in something that's a bit more like a hotel or a motel. So my suggestion around that space is if you have a certain style of accommodation that you like, perhaps it might be better to review the itineraries and then pick something that might be in that space. But as I said, like something like, you know, as an example, Bruny Island that we have as well, you know, that's a beautiful private lodge on the island. 3 Capes as well out of Tasmania, another private lodge that's actually our own Parktrek lodge. And yeah, it's a really exciting space. We only have one tour that's a camping tour. I think one of the benefits is that, you know, staying at your accommodation for each night we essentially do pack-free style hiking tours, so walking tours. So you are really lucky in the sense that you'll leave your accommodation in the morning, go and do your walking with your guides for the day, and then you return to that same accommodation, for the evening, and that's where you tuck into, your pre-dinner entrees and your nibblies. Make some friends along the way with your small group of 10, and then go out and do it all again tomorrow with something that's a little bit different, but inspiring as well.
I love your advice about looking at the accommodations, certainly for the different itineraries. And when you are on our website having a look at the itineraries today, you can go ahead and expand each day, and we will let you know about the accommodations. So really great advice there. I really love that. If we're moving from one accommodations to another, perhaps we're doing one of those treks that does go a little bit further afield, how do we get our luggage to and fro? Do we need to get a backpack on and walk with a backpack? How does that work?
Yeah, not at all. So for our travellers, we encourage you, and probably strongly encourage you, to bring like a day pack, so just a small backpack. That way you can put your walking poles in if you're more comfortable walking with walking poles, your water, put your jacket in there. But essentially we actually do pack free style walking trips. So with your luggage and things, you would actually put that in the back of our vehicle, which has an attached trailer, and that vehicle and trailer comes with us along the way. So of course we don't need those vehicles and things while we're out walking, but the in-between, the travel bits, absolutely the vehicle does come with us. So you don't have to bring a whole heap of stuff out on the trips with you. You're not staying in the wilderness overnight. You will return to really comfortable accommodation at night.
Okay, that actually sounds really good. This is very comfortable. I'm really enjoying this. A couple of shout-outs here. Hello, Law in Melbourne. I hope you're doing okay. I'm sure it's lovely to be able to, plan ahead for 2021 for later in the year for some holidaying in 2022. Hello, Karen from Brizzy. Good to see you in warm Brizzy. And Nika from the Scenic Rim, where the food is spectacular, and we are going to move on to food actually on that note. So Genevieve,
love it.
About the meals, because I am sure that after a day of trekking we're going to be hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will be hungry doing long days on your feet. So we provide most meals on tour, which is fantastic. Not only are your guides skilled in, fauna, flora, geology, they're actually really skilled cooks as well. So they basically take care of everything for you whilst you're away. They'll, of course, all do our driving and things. So the guides, like sort of what to expect. For the most part, breakfast, lunch and dinner is included every day. You might have one dinner along the way where we might be, say, out at a restaurant, and that's at your own expense. I'd probably just consult your individual itineraries to see if that's applicable for you. But for most itineraries, all the meals are included. You'll also have morning tea and afternoon tea snacks. And then, of course, we also provide scroggin as well. For those who might not know what scroggin is, it's just a mix of nuts and dried fruits and a bit of a sugar hit and a bit of sustenance along the way. So it's usually just a bag of sort of mixed trail. I think it's quite tasty, and I think certainly by the afternoon people are like, oh yeah, a few jelly snakes, brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know when I'm definitely out there, I'm like, oh, cup of tea, couple of jelly snakes, life's all right. Yeah. I suppose, like, in terms of breakfast and lunch and dinner, what to expect, we like to keep it, I suppose, quite a relaxed style of dining. So breakfast might be bacon and eggs with toast, or be a selection of cereal and preserved fruits, tea and coffee, and then along the way, lunch. What we do for most of our tours is a sort of pack your own style kind of lunch. So it might be things like bread rolls and wraps and salad bowls and beautiful Vita wheats, a whole selection of condiments, and essentially you can build your own to your taste. So that's typical for most days out on tour. You do that before you leave. And then for dinners, it could be anything from roast lamb and veggies, salmon and salad, beautiful wild mushroom risottos, slow cooked beef ragu, and then of course we cater for all dietary requirements as well. So we've recently changed our menu and feedback's been fantastic. So my only suggestion would be is please provide your dietary requirements and you'll be just fine.
Absolutely. And when you make your bookings through our website, you can certainly in the special notes put down your dietary requirements, which we would really encourage you to do. But if you forget, that's okay. You can still speak to us and we can add those in later. A big hello to Anne-Lee from Sydney. And certainly Karen has asked if she can search the word walking tours on our website separately. Absolutely can, Karen. In fact, my beautiful colleague Laura will pop a link into the comments there for you so you can go straight to those walking tours now and have a look at them as well. But Genevieve, I know that you were a first-time trekker only recently.
Yeah.
This was actually the itinerary that you did here in New South Wales. I'm going to ask you a couple personal questions. How did you go? That's my first one.
Yeah. So let me probably be really honest with you in the sense that I've worked in tourism for many, many years now. I used to work for a major operator out in Melbourne, and I stumbled across this amazing job. I am by no means, I wouldn't even call myself an avid walker. I was a little bit worried going into this trip. I mean, gosh, you can see the terrain there in the pictures for yourself. I was a little worried that perhaps I'd be the person at the back. I was one of the people at the back, but that was for good reasons. I was one of our tail end guides supporting our key guides that were out on this private group. So where we actually went to was the Warrumbungles. For those that don't know, the Aboriginal word, which is Warrumbungles, means jaggedy rock. And that is exactly what that region's all about. So Warrumbungles is out near Coonabarabran. It is an incredible region. It's an astronomer's delight. As you can see, those walks, they look pretty intense. Surprisingly, I came out of that. I felt exhilarated. The group were absolutely supportive. There was a couple of long days. One of those walks, we were out there for 8 days hiking up the side of a mountain. And I remember we got to the top of Lou's Throne, which is basically at the saddle. So the picture on the left is basically an example of what you might see up at Lou's Throne. And I remember sitting up there on those rocks eating my pre-packed lunch that I'd made that morning. And I thought, gosh, wow, what an amazing office. I'd been in my role for about 3 weeks at this point. I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I think, what I absolutely loved was, and probably what I still take away from that trip is, that's the highest I've gone in my life on my own 2 feet. And is it something that I would have ever done outside of, what is, I suppose, my workplace? Maybe not. But you know what? It is high on my most recent memories. I'm still a little bit lost for words about that trip. It was absolutely spectacular. This particular trip, it was a large private group of 30 that we took for an amazing charity. Everyone, they just went in with the right attitude. Everyone supported each other. And I suppose in this sense, being such a large group, we were able to split the walkers up into a bit more moderate and then our super highly fit people. So I said, amazing. And everyone was just like-minded. It was really, really special. And again, just nothing I would have done in my personal life. So to go with a group of people that, that wanted to be there and were all there to achieve the same goal, it was pretty special. Very, very memorable moment in my life.
You must be so proud. Good for you. That's brilliant.
Instagram is, fantastic for social media. And you can see how spectacular it is.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's get in and show people where they can trek to. We've still got 7 months of 2021. And so we can obviously go ahead and book those dates now, which is really, really exciting. That's all available on our website. The first one that I really, really wanted to bring up was the 6-day Cradle Mountain walking itinerary, because Cradle Mountain is definitely one of those really iconic treks. Certainly And this one includes the 3 nights accommodation in Cradle Mountain, 2 nights in Launceston, and some of the most exceptional and exquisite walks that are very, very famous, of course, throughout that region. Small group of 10. And the cost of that one's just $2,299 per person, which is just amazing, considering all accommodation, all meals, guides, etc., as we've just discussed. I love that one. I think the next one, though, will probably be one of my favorites because I'm a little bit of a rainforest meets beach type of person. So this actually would suit me down to a T. It's the 7-day Kangaroo Island walking tour. And of course, as you can see here, it's 2 nights Adelaide, 3 nights, of course, American River, 1 night in King's Coach, and some spectacular walks that encompass the beach region as well as overland. Kangaroo Island's looking great now. It's really through that time. Really beautiful. Small group of 10 on that one again, 2,599 per person. Next one, I'm running through these. We're running out of time. I'm so sorry, but they are on our website. Laura's popped a link in the comments there below so you can really get in and read about this. And on our website, when you expand the itineraries, you can see exactly what Genevieve has been talking about with regards to, I guess the gradient of that walk and how many kilometres or hours is expected on your feet each day so you can make an informed decision. There is the 7-day Snowy Mountains, which I love this one, and it's 2 nights Canberra, 4 nights, of course, in a lodge, which I think is really suitable for that region, including the walks through Mount Kosciuszko. That has to be done, right? You have to do this one. Small group of 10, and our lucky last, if we can, there it is, magic, 9-day Great Ocean Road walking tour. We spoke about this one a little bit before. I love this one specifically because, as I probably said, I love the idea of that slow, it's not, you're walking so you don't miss anything, I think is probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you know what I think I love most, and Great Ocean Road is a beautiful example of this. Walking holidays are a multi-sensory, experience. So I think for something like Great Ocean Road, typically you might be in a car driving along with the window down, so you might get, a bit of smell, and certainly get the visual of it, but to be physically walking along, you're touching, you're tasting, you're literally feeling the changing landscape under your feet. Great Ocean Road is a fantastic example of really what that region's about, and really how a walking tour can fully change your perception of what the region is. I used to live in Melbourne, so I have driven Great Ocean Road about 20 or 30 times in my life to physically go and do the walking experience. Wow, and the landscape, it does change incredibly, certainly over the week period. It's spectacular.
Oh my God, you've just done it. That's a wrap. You have just convinced me that I need to go ahead and do this walking tour. I never thought of it in that way. That's just brilliant. Guys, I'm sure you've got more questions. We are going to wrap up here, but feel free to make a comment, of course, on this post below, because we absolutely will come back to you. If you wanted to look further into these itineraries, check the accommodations as recommended, have a look at the kilometres travelled, check the inclusions, and most importantly, departure dates, then you're welcome to hop on our website now. Laura has popped a link directly through to all of our walking tours in the comments, and we are open. Our guys, I say this every time we come online, I say we love travel. That's why we're in travel. We love talking about holidays. So please give us a call. The number, as always, is 1300 886688. Genevieve, thank you so much for your time. That was just brilliant.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you, Cassandra, and thanks to everyone who's viewing in today as well.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.